Welcome back to another week of Instigating with Clarkey and Drury, brought to you as always by our friends at Coolbet Canada, the Listowel Squash Courts, Listowel Vision Care, and See the Game. Ryan Drury here along with Clarkey. The NHL trade deadline has come and gone for another year. And to dig into that and, of course, their beloved Maple Leafs, Clarkey and our guests, we are very pleased to be joined by our friend. You know him from the Steve Dangle podcast, the Steve Dangle Podcast Network, and all of his contributions on Sportsnet, including Dang It!
Sounds like a start of me.
Dang It's dropped today. Gosh darn it. That's a good plug.
Absolutely, my friend. I love watching the Dang It's. They're one of my favorite things. And we're going to dig into a major one for the league and one Vegas Golden Knights. But first, let's start with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Deadline day is come and gone. Like I said, Maple Leafs getting involved. Mark Giordano, of course, not on deadline day, but they acquire him over the past weekend. A solid defensive upgrade there for them. He's a Toronto guy, passionate about the team, happy to be back home. Overall, Steve, if you could give a letter grade to your Toronto Maple Leafs and what they did or maybe didn't do at the deadline, what would you say?
I think I would give what they did and what they didn't do the same grade, which is a B+. They got better at every position. They got better at forward. They got better on D. And I mean, okay, so this is all literally true. They got better at forward, they got better on D, and they're heading into the playoffs with an all-star goalie. Everything's fine, right? It's just because something is true doesn't mean it is. But the reason I give them a good grade for what they didn't do is outside of getting Marc-Andre Fleury, I'm not really sure what they could have done. I don't know what teams were asking for. I gotta say, I'm surprised James Reimer didn't move. And I was still holding out hope for that. I was definitely holding out hope that someone would grab Peter Mrazek off waivers. And then he was fine against the New Jersey Devils the other night. So if the goaltending returns the form, there's no reason to think this team can't at least go up against any team in their division. But gosh, it's such a good division.
It is a good division for sure. And okay, let's get to Giordano a little bit. You brought up goaltending. Let's stick with the goaltending. Do you think the guys they have now can carry the torch and make a run? I mean, we saw Jack Campbell in a calendar year, I guess, be pretty spectacular. And as you said, he made it to the All-Star game. He lost his confidence. Do you think he can get it back? Because I don't think Mrazek is the answer.
No, I don't think Mrazek's the answer. I mean, Clarkey, it's great to say this in front of a goalie finally. Does he know where his posts are or what?
So this is what I'm saying. When I watch him, I'm like watching myself because I'm like lost in the net too. I'm like all over the place. I'm way out on a 2-on-1. I can't move laterally. Yeah, it's kind of like, what's going on? They need to, that little goaltending training when you put a rope around him, and that's what he needs.
I was thinking a bungee cord.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, would have done him some. Well, why not both? Yeah. Listen, Shelgren looks fine. I don't know if he's going to carry them to the promised land or anything. It really all lies with Jack Campbell, and he doesn't need to give them superhuman goaltending. Like that's not what the Leafs need, and it's not even what they're asking for.
Right.
I think they're asking for give the team every game 1 or 2 saves they don't necessarily deserve, and don't let in any stupid ones. And for about the
Freddie
last
Anderson.
6 weeks, oh my God, like talk about it, right? Like,
like Freddie's having a great year, right? He's having a great year. He had a great year with the Leafs. Then what happened in the playoffs? Oh, one under his arm. Oh, one, in the 7 hole. Anyway,
very porous, if you will, but that's all Jack Campbell has to do. Like, they're not going to out-duel Tampa in net. If they play them, they have the best goalie in the league. So that's kind of tough. But if he returns to form and they go up against Florida, well, Florida's a little suspect in that. What if they go up against, Boston? They've had a good goaltending situation, but they've been patchy at times too. And Matthews is this, world eater right now. They literally need league average goaltending, and they should be competitive.
Yeah, like a 905 save percentage, right? Like a little bit more than 9 out of every 10 shots, maybe a little higher, maybe 9-10. But like they don't have to be Shesterkin. right?
No,
Like, can you imagine them with a Shesterkin? They would be unbeatable for sure. But
100%.
And Shelgren, hey, I thought he played pretty well. I thought he would look pretty confident. He's not a kid. What, 26 years old, I think.
Almost 5, yeah, 25.
Oh, okay. So anyway, he's not 19 or 20. That's my point. What did you think about them trying to sign Harry Sateri and having Phoenix of all teams steal him on him?
Well, so I caused a bit of a kerfuffle on Twitter because over the last so many years, I don't remember the exact time frame, but the team with the second highest number of players claimed off waivers has lost 6 players to waivers. The Leafs have lost 12. It's absolutely absurd. Yeah. So what is it? I actually had someone who I trust, tell me that it's a bit. NHL GMs do it because they think it's hilarious. So do the Arizona Coyotes look at Harri Sateri and go, this guy can make us better? Do they look at him and go, oh, he can help us compete and he can win us some games? Since when are the Arizona Coyotes in the business of winning hockey games?
Right.
They don't care.
They should be losing.
They should be losing. This dude, they got to change this rule. Because people are talking to me about some guy named Ruotsalainen with the Gretzky era Oilers like I care. I'm 34. I don't know this human being. That was forever ago. So Harri Sateri signs a contract with Toronto Maple Leafs on it. And then 24 hours later, he's got to go to Arizona after spending I heard somewhere between $70,000 and $200,000 to buy himself out of off a team in a literal war zone, basically. But I don't get to go to the team that I signed with. What?
I know.
If the NHL is interested in attracting the best players in the world to play in their league, what is this rule doing there? What is this rule? People are acting like this happens all the time. It doesn't. It was a perfect scenario. Under normal circumstances, Harri Sateri would have never been available. He's under contract with the KHL team, and the KHL would still be going on right now. They'd be about to head into the playoffs. Yeah. But it was a unique scenario, so I'm not sure who this rule is protecting exactly. So NHL GMs are doing this just to screw with the Leafs because I think as 32 Thought said, there were something like half a dozen claims on Harri Sateri. Get lost.
It is bizarre, and I agree they should change the rule because it again, like you said, I mean, can't put it any more plainly. I really don't know who it protects, and a guy, especially in his instance, has a right, in my opinion, as a veteran hockey player, to sign a deal and come over here. Finally, let's keep in mind this guy's 32 years old, and he would not have signed that deal. Nobody's going to convince me that Sateri would have signed a deal with.
Well, he could have the day before
with Coyotes letterhead on it. There's not a chance.
Right.
Nobody is going to be signing deals with the Coyotes letterhead on it come a year. So it's just a stupid rule. And yeah, I'm not surprised the teams do it to the Leafs because they're the Leafs and it's just goofy. But I really wish that they would change the rule. Really what it is, and I'm glad you bring up Arizona, this just another goofy tool that Gary Bettman's NHL has built in to let bottom feeder teams at the top of the waiver wire grab guys that they shouldn't really have any right to. It's just bizarre, Steve.
Yeah, I totally understand the purpose of regular waivers.
Yes,
sure. You want players to make an NHL salary, and it's an opportunity to avoid it. So the Leafs put you on waivers. You're gonna, you make $700,000. You're gonna go to the minors and make 70. Oh, guess what? The San Jose Sharks are willing to give you a roster spot and an NHL salary. I totally get that. Who on earth does this rule help? It doesn't make any sense. It helps. It helps bad teams that no one wants to play for. If Harri Sateri wanted to play in Arizona, he could have signed a contract with them. He didn't. So what is it? What's the big deal here?
You're barking up the right tree because
the Kucherov rule that now they're going to look at with the salary cap going into the playoffs. Apparently, I heard today they're going to look at that rule
Yeah. So
moving forward.
Lovely.
Right.
Lovely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm curious about that. Steve, glad you brought that up, Clarkey. Yeah, there's news that the GM meetings, obviously they're going to happen next week. They're considering putting on the table having the salary cap still be in effect in the playoffs. I don't love the rule. I don't think that that's a good thing to do. Me personally, I think the salary cap has been an extremely restrictive process, not only on player salaries, but also for teams like the Leafs or the Bruins or the Rangers that would spend money. I think that it has helped, and you could argue not really helped, teams like Arizona and Carolina and Florida to a degree. They're good now, but I mean, it took forever. I don't like this. Your opinion on the rule and what they should do with this in terms of it being in effect in the playoffs? I don't like it.
I mean, they have to take a look at the salary cap, but I don't think this is the way to do it at all. Because ultimately, what is the salary cap there for? Oh, it's there for parity. Shut up. No, it's not. It's there to protect NHL teams from themselves. It's there to prevent them from spending too much money, right? So they gotta. All these teams.
Toronto rule, and so Toronto will win the cup. We know it.
But now all these teams are spending into the 90s or the 85s and everything, and now. What really bothered me, I'll give you an example from a few weeks ago or last week, is we looked at the Florida Panthers highlights and Aaron Ekblad gets hurt. And for a brief moment, the hockey world went, that's horrible for Aaron Ekblad. I hope he's okay. This guy has rotten luck. And then 5 seconds later, we're all like, how could this help the Florida Panthers? And immediately the Panthers are like, oh, this could work out in our favor. And they're working the phones. I heard they were out trying to get Andrew Kopp. They managed to get like two of the biggest fish, arguably the biggest fish on defense and the biggest fish up front in Claude Giroux and Ben Sherratt. And they got some other guys. But I mean, what I would like to see gone if they want to add a nice little change to the salary cap, make it so that you can't trade ghosts. Why were we talking about the possibility of Shea Weber getting dealt? Why did Brian Little go to the Arizona Coyotes? Like, how many ghosts can that non-franchise get? How many? Datsuk, Pronger, I think at one point did they get Mark Savard? I can't remember. And now they're up to Brian Little.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Get out of here. It's how is this not money laundering? Like, oh yeah, the cap is there for parity. Guys, it's a scam. It's a scam.
It is a scam, and I hate that. Yeah, Arizona, they are a non-franchise. I mean, Clarkey knows they're my least favorite existing sports team. I don't understand why they exist. They're a get out of jail free card for richer teams. It's goofy. And it's bizarre to me too. You know, I was on with our friend Dwayne from Trainwreck Sports on Monday on their trade deadline show. And we were talking about, you know, that I love that people call it the Kucherov rule, because if you'll remember, this all started in 2015 with the Blackhawks. They should be calling it the Patrick Kane rule. The Tampa Bay Lightning lost to the Chicago Blackhawks in that Stanley Cup final. Ben Bishop was still their goalie back then.
And
Imagine
they never
that.
forgot it, did they?
And they never forgot it. You're right, because that summer leading into that playoffs, Kane gets hurt. He's back healthy game one of the playoffs. It allowed them the space to acquire Anton Vermette and somebody else whose name is escaping me, but two players who impacted their lineup. They win the cup. That summer at the GM meetings, Tampa Bay brought on the table, they were like, do we want to allow stuff like this to be possible? And they put on the table a proposal. I heard from numerous people in the league, a cap essentially on how much LTIR you could stash and let it still affect your salary cap. And all the other GMs, all of them voted no. And so Tampa went, okay. Yeah. Well, and then when Kucherov, who was legitimately hurt, I'm never going to say a guy wasn't hurt. Was it as bad as they made it sound? I don't know. I really don't. But they went, Remember that one time?
Mhm.
And they did it. And now everybody goes, well, Tampa Bay, Kucherov, they're evil. We don't like those dastardly Tampa Bayans, you know? And
number
it's
one BS.
hey guys, like, remember? Like, it's the NHL needs member berries, honestly, for our South Park fans. Ridiculous.
Yes.
Remember the Blackhawks? Like,
I
it's
remember.
Pepperidge Farms remembers.
Yeah.
It's so stupid to me. And now we see it again with this Evgeny Dadonov thing with the Golden Knights. That is the dang it of the year, isn't it, Steve? Is that the stupidest thing you've ever seen?
Like my kingdom for a league. Seriously, act like a league. Like there's billions of dollars at stake. All these teams are worth millions and millions and millions. And they, like, people forget, Vegas has so there's Cap Friendly who rules the world. Before that, it was General Fanager, and that guy works for Vegas. Remember that? I know him and I like him, and I can't imagine he was consulted with this. And, you know, there's this broken telephone and, the Senators didn't tell us about the list. And like, it's literally the Three Stooges. It's so ridiculous. And in the middle of it all, there's Evgeny Dadonov, who's going to speak tonight, supposedly, and Lord knows what he's going to say. The Vegas Golden Knights have to make a deal, basically, to activate anyone from their team off LTIR. And their options appear to be don't do that and be bad and miss the playoffs, or make a trade in which you have none of the leverage. You have a very limited pool of maybe a dozen teams you can trade with, and they're going to ask for the sun and the moon because they deserve it.
Mhm.
So I don't know what's going to go on here. And also, poor John Moore. John Moore it was involved in this trade. He was dealt twice, I think, in 48 hours. And the second one got nixed. So people talk about Dadonov having to stay with this team who he knows doesn't want him. Same with John Moore.
Mhm.
Same with John Moore, who's like, is anyone more of a suitcase in the NHL this year? It's like, it's got to be him and Michael Del Zotto. He's played for 1,000 different teams. I don't know how this ends, but it ain't going to be in Vegas.
It's extremely bizarre. And yeah, again, it's the second I saw that, where the first tweets are coming out that there might be a problem because someone wasn't aware of this no trade team list, which is so I immediately thought, I said out loud, this is so NHL.
Oh yeah.
It's the most NHL crap that ever NHL'd. It's so stupid. Like, I can't believe, I remember a couple years ago and tons of people were tweeting this quote out. You'll remember Gary Bettman when he gave his goofy State of the League address at the All-Star game a couple years ago. Somebody asked him why there isn't a page on the NHL website that has cap information. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing loosely here, fans aren't interested in cap hits. They're more concerned with what's going on the ice. I think Cap Friendly gets an average of 30,000 page visits a day, something like that. And that's on a slow day. On Monday, they had over 2 million. No one's interested, Gary. And a website that is not affiliated with the league has more information than the league.
Well,
what's happening?
And Gary Bettman, and like listening to him talk, it makes me think existential things. Like how much money is enough? Like, Gary, you make $8 million and you've been doing this for 30 years. You have enough money, retire. Please stop. Please stop. For your sake and everyone else's sake, stop. Shut up.
It's in the Hall of Fame.
Here's my question.
Oh.
Do the other teams have access to every little bit of information that Cap Friendly gets? And if they do, because you hear all the time that the teams use this site too, right?
Yes.
So the league probably, I'm looking at it from the little commissioner's point of view.
Sure.
He probably doesn't want the league to do the homework of the teams. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was on the league site, then the Toronto Maple Leafs could get information from the Montreal Canadiens that maybe they should try to get on their own. That's the only thing I can see. But maybe Bettman should have said that instead of trying to lie again, like he always does. But anyway.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that should be common sense. Mm-hmm. Check with the player you are trading.
That absolutely.
It should be common sense. A lot of things should be common sense.
Yeah.
But we're too dumb. We're too dumb. We evolved too fast. We got out of the caves too quickly, and we thought we were smarter than we are, and we're just too dumb. Mm-hmm. And we need these fail safes because we're too dumb. Mm-hmm. So it'll be very interesting to see if they go with this or not. And the teams do need some kind of self-governance, but Dadonov's agent, for example, I knew for weeks that they were trying to shop Dadonov. We all did. It was public. They never spoke to his agent once.
Right.
They've got 2 Golden Knights, that agent, as clients. Never thought to even pick up the phone. It is 2022. You can talk to anybody in the world like that. Rapid fire.
Unless the agent was sitting back thinking, he's dumb, you know what?
Oh,
right.
Well,
right? I hope they trade. He doesn't want to leave.
Right? His client for the next month, 5 weeks, might get paid to sit at home and do nothing. Mm-hmm. It's entirely possible. So the one good thing that came out of all of this is I learned about a rule that I didn't know about, which is, so I thought if a player was traded after the trade deadline, they weren't allowed to play in the playoffs, but they could play for the rest of the regular season. That's not true.
That's right.
They can't. So
the Leafs acquired someone yesterday.
Yes. So that's
a minor league deal.
So what was it? The Leafs got future considerations in exchange for Brennan Manel, who they sent to the Philadelphia Flyers. So Manel will be ineligible to play for the Flyers, but he can play for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. And that's what he was going for. He couldn't get into the Marlies lineup. They'll play for the Phantoms, but the Flyers can't call him up, even though he's Flyers property.
Okay.
I know. It's very...
Because in baseball, you can make a deal after, but you're not eligible for the playoffs. You can play in your team.
The non-waiver trade deadline, which they're discussing getting rid of, which I think they should. Trade a guy or don't trade him.
Right, exactly. You have all this time. There's a deadline. Nothing after that. I don't understand.
What do you think deadline means?
Exactly.
It's like when your science teacher would be like, listen, you can still hand in your late assignment, but you're getting a 70%. It's like, this is supposed to be a professional league. Like July 31st, as far as I know, shows up on everybody's calendar. You don't set reminders on your iPhone. I don't know. It's stupid to me. Steve, I want to ask you, let's put the calculators away as Clarkey's dogs explode. The Clarkey's dogs are mad at Gary Bettman.
They should be.
They should. I want to ask you just quickly as well as we get back to the deadline. Some winners and losers, teams that stuck out to you. Obviously, Minnesota, of course, the big fish in Marc-Andre Fleury. Who are some teams that stuck out to you that definitely got better and are winners at the trade deadline, and some teams that maybe you thought, I didn't think they did a good job?
I actually really liked the deadline that the Rangers had. Mm-hmm. I thought I like teams that don't necessarily add star power, but they become more of what they're trying to be. And I think the Rangers definitely became more of what they're trying to be. Tenacious, annoying, just kind of playoff heavy. And I think, a guy like Andrew Kopp helps them do that. Calgary had an underrated deadline because they did most of their work ahead of time. Yarden Croak's a good little player. Toffoli can score. Ryan Carpenter's, does that not scream Daryl Sutter?
And Sean Monahan may be a healthy scratch, I heard tonight.
Wow, really?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing out of Calgary.
He is lost, man. And he's had a lot of injuries, but he's lost.
I've heard he's battling some injuries. It kind of shows, a changing of the guard, because I've been talking about Sean Monahan for years in that he's a good center, but I don't think he's a number one. And Elias Lindholm has this huge coming out party. He's unreal, super underrated player, but unfortunately for Monahan, it could just be one game.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, but still.
I think underwhelming deadline. I'm going to say Seattle. I'm looking at their cap friendly page. They have an ocean of picks.
30, isn't it?
It's so many. They got
30 in the next 3 years.
Yeah, they only have one first in each of the next three, but they have 4 seconds. And then the next year they got 3 seconds. They got a few thirds, 3 fourths for 2 straight years. That's a lot of numbers. But they're not rebuilding. They are building. So those draft picks, unless traded for players, are going to be years away from even sort of affecting the product on the ice. And how much do you trust them to go out and sign guys? I mean, they signed Adam Larson to that big extension. They're talking about trading him. They signed Jamie Alexiak to that big extension. They're talking about trading him. They signed Philip Grubauer to big money. Is one of the biggest financial disasters of this past summer. So it's good that they got picks, but I don't think that's enough. I just don't think that's good enough. You need to sell hockey in Seattle, and you can't do that with a garbage product. And I know this is maybe I say Seattle's an old school expansion team in that they suck. Vegas sort of made unrealistic expectations for everyone, but you got to be sort of competitive for crying out loud, and they're not even close.
No, let's stay on Seattle. Let's talk about the guy that the Leafs got, Mark Giordano. What did you think of the trade? And then secondly, how do you think he looked last night in his first game against the Devils?
Well, I think the whole team looked weird because they were wearing black.
I loved it, actually. I liked it.
Yeah.
That's the first third sweater I've liked, to be honest.
I thought it was good. Yeah.
I liked it. It was better than the T arenas.
At the Aretnas?
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Hey, I have an Aretnas jersey.
There you go.
I love the Aretnas. But this jersey, I liked it for what it was, but it was a jarring experience. It was like, you know how you watch a team enough, you can tell who the players are without seeing the number or their face or anything.
Yeah.
It took me a moment to get adjusted yesterday. It was like watching every Leafs shadow. I'm like, oh, that's Alex Kerfoot's shadow. That's sort of how it was. Yeah. I thought Giordano was good. I liked the veteran benefit of the doubt where he didn't get the penalty. I thought that was hilarious. That's only the second time I've ever seen it happen. But he was confident. Like, he wasn't just trying to have a simple game. He was bossing Timothy Liljegren around, which I liked. He was going for stretch passes. That's a bold, brash guy. I like that. And as for the deal, the Leafs didn't give up. Matthew Nyes was. I was waking up, in cold sweats in the middle of the night, thinking this team was going to trade that guy. And they didn't trade another first round pick, and they got better. They got better. So, to me, that's a super successful deadline. You didn't give up anything cared too much about, and you addressed some major concerns. So I think they did really well. I'm
kind of convinced that Giordano said, if I'm going to be traded, I want to go to Toronto. And
that was the rumor.
And then their hands were tied. But I think they made out well. And the thing I thought last night is he was a calming influence on the game. And that's what they need. They need a guy in the last minute of play to be a little calming, get the job done. I thought he was good. And when, Dubas takes a lot of heat in this town for the defense and everything else. But you look at the D when he started and the D now, he's done a pretty good job, I think. And, again, if they had a really good goalie, they would be really good. But I think they're better than they were. And they're a top 5 team in the NHL. They're not that bad. Remember the good old days, Dangle? Oh my gosh.
Don't you dare call them that. I mean, Clarkey, I used to, when I started at Leafs TV, I told people my job is, I cut Leafs highlights. And by the end of my first season, I was like, no, I cut highlights for the teams that play the Leafs. That's right. I cut highlights for, I think I did a game, and I want to say it was Was it the season Ovechkin scored like 65? Oh, it was a nightmare. There are some beatings I still remember.
How would you like to produce a 2-hour post game show after those games?
Oh, it's
not fun.
That's
we saw a lot of ups and downs there because in 2001, the first year of Leafs TV, they made it to the conference final.
Yes, they did.
Right, and it was like, oh, this is pretty good. But then things turned. But
at least you got the one good year out of it.
Yep, for sure.
Things have turned around for them. Steve, I also want to ask you, I know like you're the most diehard Leaf fan out there, but I love listening to your show just for all of the other stuff you guys touch on, right? And yeah, Clarkey, you're pretty passionate too. You got the tattoo and everything. We understand.
Oh,
there's the tattoo. There it is.
Like it.
I want to ask you a little bit. We've ragged on them a little bit already. Just the Arizona Coyotes. I don't know if you've seen the latest piece that The Athletic put up, KDJ Strang and a bunch of other contributors about this new arena. I can't take it anymore. Like, what are we doing? We're gonna allow a team in a major league like this. Like, it feels like the movie Major League. Like, it's outrageous right now. Like, it's Slapshot. We're going to Florida. Like, what's happening right now? I can't believe that they're going to allow this to happen. And Bettman made a claim. The stupidest thing I took away from the story, if you haven't read it, Bettman claimed that they could actually potentially make more money in this 5,000 seat arena at Arizona State than they do now. And a guy did the math. Mm-hmm. They take in, I think, roughly 850,000 in annual gate revenue per game in Arizona, which is horrific. It's obviously bottom of the league.
I'm skeptical.
In order to top that, we're talking just like regular gate revenue. In order to top that, they would have to sell out every single 5,000 seat home date, and they would have to triple ticket prices in order to just beat that. I can't take it anymore, man.
So they're actually pricing their fans out of the experience by doing this. But I always cut people off when they say 5,000 seat arena. No, it is not. No, it is not 5,000 seats. They still need dressing rooms. It is less. It's less than 4,000. There are. We looked it up on the podcast, and I was trying to find how many CHL teams got a higher attendance per game than whatever it was, 3,600. And the answer I came up with was 8. And then I looked at the list a little closer and I went, oh, this is the CHL, but it's the Central Hockey League. And those teams drew more than 3,600. And one of the teams in that league was Arizona.
Oh no!
Shambolic. Like this is the thing with, like, listen, humans make mistakes and everything, and every league has drama. The NBA's drama is like tabloidy, and can you believe that this guy said this or that this happened? And check out this meme. NHL drama is just pure ineptitude, and I've heard some encouraging things, like, listen, we can't pretend like over the last quarter century there haven't been strides in hockey in the Arizona region. There have been in
very high youth hockey participation right now, like
high youth hockey participation. Austin Matthew Nyes as well. Sean Couturier was born there. I don't know how long he was raised there, but the question I ask is, how much better would it be if the Arizona Coyotes weren't run worse than the banana stand from Arrested Development? There is potential for the building in Tempe to be good. That's 4 years from now, and it's not even guaranteed to start.
They haven't approved anything. They haven't even done an EA.
Forget shovels in the ground. There aren't pens on paper. So in order to do that, which may years in the future prove to be a venture worth doing, they still have to eat garbage from the trough for 3 or 4 seasons in this non-factor broom closet of a building. And I'm sure it'll be fun. I think as a fan experience, it'll be cool. But as an NHL player, I think it's going to be a nightmare. And consider this. I don't know, like I went to Ryerson, and Ryerson's a big commuter school. I don't know how ASU works in that regard, but how it's likely going to work next season, because they still have to do renovations on that building. The Coyotes will be able to use that building as their home arena at some time in December when a big chunk of the students go home. When they go home for winter break. Oh, it's shambolic. Listen, I hope it's a cool experience, and I hope they fill the place, but it ain't going to make any money.
I saw one thing in the story that made me laugh out loud too, was that they were talking just about, because they had all anonymous sources. They had a couple anonymous NHL scouts and GMs, a couple anonymous players. I bet Brad Marchand was probably one of them, and a few other people in the league. And one of their own staffers said, the tagline on the article is, "Everybody is going to be laughing at us." And that was from one of their staffers. And they were talking about just how this might operate, because Arizona State, I don't know that people know this, the university team, they get priority of the building. It's their building, right? And so they get priority on like home dates, advertising. They are the first class citizens here over an NHL team. And I saw in the article that they were saying, in order to, because the dressing rooms might not be ready, shocker, for NHL teams. They were talking about picking players up at the other side of the campus in their gear and golf carting them to the rink.
The only
golf carts.
Yeah, and imagine you're a player and you worked your whole life to get to that
Clayton
point.
Keller, he's getting golf carted to the big NHL game
41 times a year. Hello, doggo.
Sandy's finally making an appearance. She hasn't been on in so long.
Sandy, our unofficial mascot. There she is.
There she is. Hey, okay. This is it. Last question. Yes or no? That all that counts here. So if it's Florida, if it's Tampa, if it's Boston, maybe Carolina, maybe the Rangers, will the Leafs win the first round of the playoffs this year?
Ooh.
One word.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, there we go. Okay.
You gotta believe they can beat any of those teams.
They can.
I know people will go on
Absolutely
Tampa.
Yeah.
Do you think they can beat Tampa? They've had some good games against Tampa the last.
And they're ahead of them in the standings right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been my answer every year since 2019. So.
Same with me. And it's been a lot longer than 2019. I tell you that much.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just look at them. Look at them. They
The
did
Caps.
They did it. Yeah. Thanks.
They did it.
Look at him.
Yeah.
Look at
him.
that.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look at it.
That's
I know.
the first year of the
I know.
Yellow Laces, I think. Ooh,
Look at
quite
it.
nice.
Like
Yeah,
they
I
did
know.
it.
They did it. And you didn't
They
think they
did it.
could. Right. Anyone can.
Yeah, and I thought that team was cooked. I really did.
Dude.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm sure you did too.
You want to ask Clarkey sometime about some of the emotional meltdowns I had in his office when we worked together.
Both you guys have.
Pittsburgh!
No, never.
We're very emotionally stable.
You didn't lose a laptop, Brian. You're all right.
Oh,
Oh, come
God.
on.
I was talking
Let
about
the
that the other day with
laptop
someone too. It's the part of that story that makes me mad is I had a Nazem Kadri rookie card and a PK Subban rookie card in the bag,
Right.
and I'll never get those back.
No. And someone who read your book probably thinking, "Oh my God, I stole Steve Dangle's laptop."
They might be worth more than the laptop.
Well, now it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
Laptop's
at the
probably
time.
No, not at the time. No. Anyway. Hey, thanks today. Thanks.
Mr. Steve Dangle, man, we appreciate it. You're one of our favorites to have on. You're a friend of the show. He is on the Steve Dangle podcast, the Steve Dangle Podcast Network. There's a ton of great shows on there. Really,
he's instigating should get on there.
I really am enjoying Agent Provocateur. Alan Walsh is a character, man. Chris Johnson has a show on that. Man, you guys are doing a great job over there. It's fantastic what you guys are pumping out. And of course, you can see him a ton on Sportsnet as well. He is Steve Dangle. Thank you so much for doing this, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll take a quick break here on Instigating. When we come back, Clarkey and I will give some final thoughts on the deadline and wrap up a couple other crazy stories from sports, including a huge trade in the NFL, a couple of huge trades. And hey, the Jays made another trade.
And soccer, we got to talk about soccer. Isn't it Italy out?
Oh,
Italy's out and Canada can get in. What's going on in the world?
That's coming up next on
I'm happy about one of those.
Welcome back to Instigating with Clarkey and Drury, brought to you by Coolbet, the Listowel Squash Courts, Listowel Vision Care, and our friends at See the Game. Ryan Drury back here with Clarkey. Thanks so much to our buddy Steve Dangle of the Steve Dangle Podcast Network, Sportsnet, and of course the Steve Dangle Podcast, the birth of all of it, right? He is a beauty, man. And we've had Steve on a couple times now. And I always feel like we take up too much of his time, but he's just so much fun to talk to. And he seems to have fun with us. And I
thought it was a quick 40 minutes.
It was a quick 40 minutes.
A quick 40 minutes is good radio or podcasting or whatever you want to call it.
100%.
Audio.
Yes. We hope the viewers
good audio and video. Sorry.
Yes. Absolutely. Now, I wonder, Clarkey, do you have any other quick thoughts on the trade deadline? Maybe any surprises that didn't happen?
No, I thought it was kind of quiet. I was at work. I wasn't like sprawled in a trade deadline like I have been before. I wasn't really expecting the Leafs to do anything. I really didn't think they were going to make a deal for a goaltender.
Nobody out there
going to live and die with what they have. And no, I thought it was anticlimactic. I thought, like after the Giordano trade on Sunday. And that has been Kyle's, what he's done in the past. He hasn't really pulled the trigger. Like I know the Foligno deal was the day before the trade deadline too. So that's what he does. He likes to get it done early and then see if he can do any tinkering. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I thought I was bored by it. I really was.
Yeah, I kind of was too. It was lackluster. And I mean, like we talked about with Steve, the salary cap and the number of issues that come up with that.
And I can't remember
a hindrance on it.
I can't remember who TSN had as like the top prospects to be traded. But when I looked at their list, I'm like, why am I watching this? Who cares about these guys who they had on their list? You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think Fleury was number one on their list. But anyway.
I don't think Fleury was number one simply because he had been publicly saying that he wasn't really that open to a deal. He didn't want to move. So knowing what they knew, and Billy Guerin, a former teammate of his, keep in mind, Stanley Cup champions in 2009 together, he got in his ear and was like, listen, we'll figure this out for you. So, and credit to Minnesota. Like, they got their chips on the table because they are in a ton of trouble starting next year with the salary cap.
Randal Grichuck got traded today.
Randal Grichuck is no longer a Blue Jay. He is gone, as is half of his $10 million annual salary, 10.5. Actually.
You think there's more to this?
I think there could be more to this. They free up a little bit of salary. Of course, they bring in a left-handed bat, Raimel Tapia, who has been a really solid little player for the
he's tall. He's not little.
Rockies. Well, yeah, he's a big, tall, lanky guy, good athleticism, can maybe fill in for Springer every now and again at center field. He's mostly a left fielder, though. He does have a bit of versatility out there, but the biggest thing for the Jays, he's cheaper than Randal Grichuck, and he's a left-handed hitter. And he's a pretty good contact hitter. He's a career 280 hitter. Getting a guy like that can come off the bench, pinch hit, runs really well. He's in the 81th percentile in terms of speed in the major leagues.
And talking about speed, did you watch the game yesterday against the Phillies at all?
I only watched some of the highlights.
So I watched the game, and I'm a casual Blue Jay fan, and they had a guy who probably won't see any action with the Jays this year. Tiny guy. His pants were about 5 sizes too big for him, but he got on with a walk and stole second and third like It wasn't even close. And I'm thinking they need a guy like that. Like they need a guy late in innings who could they just put in to pinch run and steal. Remember when Dalton Pompey came up and he stole second and third and he couldn't be caught. And, the Jays have won with speed before. And to see a guy turn a walk into a triple after 2 pitches, I'm like, yeah, I like this. I like baseball like this. This is what I like.
I can't remember who that was.
I don't know who it was.
I watched the full Yankee game. I did not see the full Phillies game. I don't know if that might have been Chavez Young. I'm not sure. Orelvis Martinez, by the way, a prospect showing really well in spring training. We will see him on the big league club in spurts, I think, this year. But I mean, the Jays just continue rocking and rolling. And hey, the rumors are still out there that they're working hard at maybe acquiring Jose Ramirez. There's rumors that have come out that now the Cleveland Guardians are potentially looking to extend him, which is, a little bizarre. But Randal Grichuck, a good soldier, made a little too much money based on his contributions, but I wouldn't be surprised going to the thin air in Denver if he has a really big year for the Rockies. He's going to be a consistent everyday player for them. He'll play probably 140 games plus if he's healthy. I wouldn't be surprised if he hit 30 home runs there in the thin air. He's got the pop, Clarkey.
Yeah, no, he does, and he'll be missed. And I know Jenna Clark, well, for one, was upset. She didn't like that trade.
Well,
but I don't know. I'm not sure why. But
sorry,
I guess she was a Grichuck fan. But
they re-signed Matt Chapman.
This team, 2 years, 2-year extension. And I was thinking about our bet, and I think it's like, are you sure you want this bet? Because I'm pretty sure this is going to be the easiest bet I've ever won.
You're referring to the bet that they break their attendance record?
Yeah, they won't.
Yeah,
Correct.
I'm sticking with that.
So they have to sell out every game. Like they did in 1992. Yeah, because you said they're going to break the record. They averaged 50,000 people in, I think, 93. Do you know that?
Again. Yeah, they can do it again.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they can do it again.
Okay, good. Okay, good luck. Good luck. What do we have on this bet, by the way? Because I want to make it good now.
I think I just flippantly threw out a 12-pack of beer, but I mean, what are we talking about here? I'm not made of money. I'm not like paying for a golf round. So
okay, we'll leave it.
I'm not O-Dog.
We'll leave it at that. No problem.
Yeah, can we just leave it at a poor man's briefcase?
Yeah,
we can. Okay,
yep. No problem.
Fair enough.
Problem.
Clarkey, I know you're a big NFL fan. Some huge trades recently. Obviously, Deshaun Watson getting acquired by the Browns, extremely controversial given the civil suits that still stand against him and sign him to huge, huge money. Baker Mayfield likely on his way out. And then yesterday, Wednesday, we are recording this Thursday, March 24th, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you listening and watching. Wednesday, earth-shattering trade, the Kansas City Chiefs shipping number 1 target Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins for 5 draft picks. Pretty hefty movement. And then they give him the richest wide receiver deal of all time, $120 million over 4 years, $72.2 million guaranteed to that one gentleman. And yet the Oakland A's cannot spend more than $45 million on a payroll, Clark.
You always have to go back to your Oakland A's, eh? I know.
Are they my Oakland A's?
I hope not. I hope you've seen the light. Like, why even cheer for them? Like, you just like to cheer for them because you like to hate on them?
Yeah, it's like a vent.
I think that's what it is.
I
like you look pretty Blue Jayed today. Like I don't know what your hoodie is. You got a hoodie. You got a Blue Jay hoodie and a Blue Jay hat on. So like, just forget about the Oakland A's. Let's not talk about them anymore. Let's have an official burning of the Oakland A's hat.
I'm not doing that.
Show. Yeah, no, let's do it.
No, I'm not burning my hat. Those hats are like $45, Clarkey. I'm not burning.
True.
I'm burning those hats. I like Billy Bean. I like the underdogness of them. Like that everything is going against them and they still somehow manage to rise out of the ash. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why I love the movie, man. Moneyball was so cool. Mm-hmm. Have you read the book? I'll lend it to you.
No, I saw the movie though.
It's a really, really good book. You should read it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, do you have any other final thoughts on deadline or the Leafs going down the stretch here?
No, I'm happy. I like the team going in.
19 games left.
If they can get some goaltending, the team's going to be strong. That's all I can say. They're a strong team.
They are a strong team.
They're a strong team, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, there's some hot goaltenders, and we know hot goaltenders going into the playoffs. Usually, they succeed, and their teams succeed. I know, so we'll see. We'll just see what happens,
It's going to be interesting down the stretch. I have to ask you one last thing. Are you going to get a Bieber reversible jersey?
I love it.
Are you gonna?
One. I want one.
I actually really like them too. I mean, I don't want one. I'm not a huge fan of like the Drew reversible side.
No. I just like the black. I like seeing the team in black. I thought they looked I really did. I thought they looked bigger.
I did too. And my friends on the Caps fan podcast, we talk about it because man, the Caps, they've played in a bunch of outdoor games. They have 700 jerseys over the last 10 years. Like at most other teams. I'm a jersey snob. I really liked.
Yeah, I like it too.
Black.
I like it too.
What I really enjoyed was between the arm bars.
The skyline of Toronto.
It almost looked like Paisley-ish from far away, and then when you get in close, even in the leaf, all those little designs. I love it. It was very.
I love how they say Justin Bieber designed it. Give me a break.
How do we know?
Come on. Didn't? Well, we don't know he didn't, but give me a break. Someone said, "Hey, what do you think of this?"
How do you know?
Justin's like, "Yes, looks good." Okay, I designed it. Give me a break.
How do we know that Biebs doesn't break out Adobe Illustrator?
I'm gonna go get some Tim Biebs, I think, tonight.
Good for you, buddy. Yeah, spread the love. Yeah. All right, we appreciate you guys watching the show. Remember,
are we done? We didn't talk about soccer.
Okay, we'll talk. Okay, let's do this quickly.
Like you got to know, I really want to talk about soccer.
And I feel ashamed for jumping the shark here, if you will, because you never want to talk about soccer. But as we record,
I don't actually.
As we record this, the Canadian men's national team is hopefully when people.
And we've heard this for 4 months. Is this finally the day?
If they beat Costa Rica as we record this,
yeah,
they are in the World Cup, and
finally, because I've heard this for 4 months now. Okay,
if they don't win, they could get some help from other teams, and if that doesn't happen, they can clinch against Jamaica next week.
So will they win tonight?
I think
are they good enough?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
No Alphonso Davies, they're still good enough to win.
Okay,
Canada, we're going. 1986, last time we were there.
There we go.
The only time we were
and
there.
Italy won't be there.
No Italiano.
I don't know what's going on there.
No bueno. That's Spanish. Anyway, let's.
All right.
I'm very.
That's enough soccer talk.
I'm very worldly. You can watch this show Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9 on Whiteman TV, Channel 6. Our friends on Whiteman, producer Adam, doing a great job as always. You can find this podcast on all the best podcast apps on your phone and computer. Follow us on social media at Instigating Pod. We appreciate you listening and watching. That's Clarkey. I'm Drury. This has been Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. We'll be back next week.